Hello, my name is Beck and welcome to a video where I list a couple of short books that you can probably smash your reading goal with, because we're nearing the end of 2020 now and I myself set a reading goal, but I know a lot of other people do as well, and it's supposed to be like a personal best thing, but I know if we're not quite up to standard on the number we set and we're a little bit behind, it helps to have a few shorter books to kind of buff out your reading list. So that's what I'm going to recommend today. I'm going to recommend 5 short books that you can get your teeth into at the end of the year and hopefully buff out your reading goal with. Of course, the first one is by one of my favourite authors, Brandon Sanderson, and it is Snapshot. This is a science fiction novella. It's about 2 detectives and they often get sent into what is called a snapshot, and a snapshot is literally a snapshot of time. It's like a bubble of time that recreates the world as it was the day before, and they use that to predict where criminals are going to be so they can go and get murder weapons and help solve cases a lot easier. But this is really tied up in the relationship that the detectives have with each other, and there is a mystery in the thread of this as well. So I don't want to say too much, obviously, because it's a novella and it's very short and you've got to really find out about the story as it tells you about it, because if I say too much, obviously it will spoil you and there's not a lot to be spoiled on. So it's a Brandon Sanderson book. I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully you do too. And it's really fast paced, which Brandon tends to write, especially at the end of his books, so I think you'll enjoy this one. And it also helps if you're not sure if you want to pick up Brandon Sanderson. It gives you like a taste of what his writing is like. Next is a book that I don't really talk about that much, but I should talk about it more because it was really good, and that is The Test by Sylvain Neuvel. This is the same guy that wrote The Themis Files, so Sleeping Giants is the first book. It was a sci-fi trilogy, and if you haven't read the audiobooks for those, would highly recommend, because they're wonderfully done on audiobook and they're wonderfully performed with a bunch of different voice actors and stuff. But anyway, that aside, this by Sylvain Neuvel is a short kind of sci-fi novella, and it talks about racism and expectation and intention. And I don't want to say too much about what the plot is, again, like Snapshot, because all of these books are quite short. If I say too much, then obviously it will spoil you, but it's called Britain, the Not Too Distant Future. So it's about a guy doing his citizenship test. That's all I can really say, but trust me when I say that this was very thematic and topical, and it was very well done. So I would highly recommend this one. Next up, I have a book that is actually a graphic novel, but it's really easy to get through because graphic novels are usually quite quick to read in comparison to a book, and it is Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. This is just a really cute story about a girl named Nimona, and she's a shapeshifter and she runs into this guy who is like an evil villain, and it's kind of about Nimona and this villain guy who actually has a heart of gold getting to know each other and becoming friends. And that's all I can really say about it, because it's kind of like low-key chaotic but wholesome at the same time, and that's all you need to know about this. Like, honestly, the drawing style and the art style says all that you need to know about the kind of tone that this conveys, so I would highly recommend this. It was adorable and I really need to go back and reread it because I haven't read it in a while, and I think it would be good to buff out my own reading goal with. And then second to last on this list is an author that I also quite love, like Brandon Sanderson. She's one of my favourite authors, and it is Becky Chambers. The book I'm recommending is To Be Taught If Fortunate, and if you want something heartfelt, careful, respectful and wholesome, I would read this. That tends to be the tone that Becky imbues her stories with, and it's why I keep going back to them. It also has an element of hope and connectivity in here between the characters, because all of them have left Earth, they're in space, and they're trying to explore different planets to see if those planets are habitable. They're all variations of different scientists, and the way that this is conveyed, it's very much them kind of isolated, because when they send a message to Earth, it takes like 17 years for them to hear anything. And the first sentence is actually, if you read nothing else we've sent home, please at least read this. So it was wonderful, it was so human, and it was just so heartfelt, which I've said before, but it's really hard to convey what I mean about the tone of Becky's books if you haven't read them yourself. So please pick this up and do yourself a favour, especially in a climate right now when we're all stressed and anxious and we want to feel productive, but we feel like we're not doing enough in the pandemic. This will just touch your heart in the right way and you'll really care about the characters. I didn't think that I was going to care about them as much as I did, but there was a pivotal moment closer to the end of the book that really hit me, and I was like, oh, I really care about the outcome of this situation. When did Becky make me care about these characters so much? So it was really well done. It was beautiful. Obviously it's a sci-fi, but it's a very human and empathetic sci-fi rather than a big kind of space opera. And then last on this list, for a little bit of variation, of course it's another sci-fi, but I mean variation on format, and that is the original by Brandon Sanderson and Mary Robinette Kowal. This is a novella that is only available on Audible, I believe. My favourite author and an author that I really admire have both collaborated here and written a sci-fi. So this woman in this sci-fi, she has woken up and she doesn't know why she's here, but in this world there can be clones made of people, and she realizes that she's a clone and she doesn't know what has happened to her husband. She doesn't know why she's woken up as a clone, and she's been tasked with the, I guess, mission of going and killing her true self so that she can take her place and continue to live on. And she's on a timer to do this because after, I think, 3 days, she ends up dying as well. So you don't really know what's happened, but it throws you right into the action, and it really combines Brandon's world building skills with Mary Robinette's first person interpersonal skills in writing. And I think both of them really blended their strengths here, and it was really immersive. So the original is wonderful, and I didn't think that I would like it so much, but I really enjoyed it. So I thought I would add it onto this list. Even though it's an Audible original, it's something that's quite short and really easy to listen to. It only takes you a couple of hours to listen to the audiobook, so that is the last thing on my recommendations list for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know if you've read any of these or if you are going to go and pick them up now. I would love to know, but thank you again so much for watching. I will chat to you down in the comments. Recommend me some short books if you know of any more. I would love to hear, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.